9 is in startup.
There's that
Dragon is in countdown.
confirmation that Falcon 9 is in startup and Dragon is in countdown, which means that the vehicles are now controlling the final seconds as we lead up to liftoff.
Dragon, SpaceX, go for launch.
And there's confirmation from our flight director.
Go for launch.
We are go for launch.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition, engine full power, and liftoff. Go Ax-3.
Further beyond, opening the door for more to follow. Godspeed, Ax-3.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal. T-minus 15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition, engine full power, and liftoff. Go Ax-3.
Further beyond, opening the door for more to follow. Godspeed, Ax-3.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Of course, if you are just joining us, this is the launch of the Axiom-3 launch to the International Space Station. Those incredible views on your screen, and there's our first shot of the Ax-3 crew inside Dragon on ascent. Now, in just a few seconds here, we should hear the call out that Falcon 9...
power and telemetry. Stage 1 throttle down.
There's that call out that Falcon 9's engines are throttling down to help us pass through the period of maximum dynamic pressure during ascent.
Max Q.
There's that call out for Max Q.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
And that Falcon 9 is going faster than the speed of sound. Now, at this point, we will begin to throttle Falcon 9's engines back up.
Stage 1 throttle up.
There's that call out for mission control as well, as our Ax-3 crew continues on their way to space.
We're now T plus 1 minute and 32 seconds into flight. The next event we have is MVAC chill, similar to what...
MVAC chill underway.
There's that call telling us that, again, we're flowing a little bit of that super chilled liquid oxygen.
Stage 1 Bravo.
Copy 1 Bravo.
That call there was one of the abort mode callouts that the crew is calling out as they are making their ascent on Falcon 9. Now, we're less than 30 seconds or a few seconds away from 4 events that will happen in rapid succession. Main engine cutoff, or MECO, as it's there on the bottom of your screen, stage separation, ignition of the first stage engine, and the first stage's boost back burn.
Stage 1 throttle down.
That call telling us that the engines are beginning to throttle down.
MECO. Stage separation confirmed.
SpaceX Dragon 2 Alpha.
Some loud cheers here as we can see that the
Stage 1 boost back startup.
first and second stages have separated. A beautiful view there. The brighter light is the second stage under power of the MVAC engine. That first stage booster is now heading back toward the Florida coast. One thing I love about daylight launches is we're going to get some amazing views. We should be able to see the Space Coast come back into view as the first stage gets closer and closer to landing zone 1. Note that that first stage is actually still coasting to its apogee. So it's about, as you can see there on your screen, 114, 115 kilometers above the Earth's surface. And it's going to keep coasting for a little bit. Beautiful view there on the right-hand side of your screen of that
Stage
MVAC
1
engine.
boost back shut down.
All right, that boost back burn has concluded on the first stage. Everything looks nominal with the second stage trajectory. Everything also looking good.
Dragon, SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
Everything looking good on the first stage as well as we see those grid fins begin to deploy.
SpaceX Dragon loud and clear.
Now, the next two major events we're tracking for the first stage, which right now is on the left-hand side of your screen, is going to be the entry burn at about T plus 6.5 minutes, where we'll light 3 of Falcon 9's first stage engines, followed shortly thereafter by the landing burn at T plus 7 minutes and 32 seconds, which will be a single engine burn to bring us back to landing zone 1 at Kennedy Space Center. Great view there of our crew on board. And you can, of course, always keep an eye on their telemetry down in the bottom corner of your screen. At this point, we should be just about a minute and a half away from that entry burn
Dragon,
start.
SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
Good call-outs there that we continue on a nominal trajectory with Dragon.
SpaceX Dragon, we copy.
And acknowledgement from the crew. These are incredible views on your screen right here. Again, the left-hand side of your screen is stage 1, making its way back to Florida. And stage 2, you see that MVAC engine burning, taking our Ax-3 crew to orbit. That entry burn we're waiting on here is going to be a relatively quick burn, and what we're doing with our first stage is effectively scrubbing off some of that velocity as we come in for landing.
Dragon, SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
That's a nominal trajectory for Dragon as we continue to orbit.
Dragon, we copy.
Again, confirmation from the crew. And we are expecting about 2.5 more minutes from that second engine burn.
Stage 1 entry burn startup. Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
As we heard the call out, that entry burn has concluded. The next burn will be the landing burn. As I mentioned before, we're heading back to landing zone 1. We're going to come through the clouds right now.
Dragon, SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
Everything continues to look nominal
SpaceX Dragon, we copy.
for the second stage there on the right-hand side of your screen. These views really are breathtaking. Such clear, crisp views of both the first stage on the left and the second stage on the right. Right through with these clouds should be our first view. Once again, there it is. Just like magic, we see landing zone 1. Crowds cheering here at SpaceX Mission Control Hawthorne as we tune in to see if we stick the landing. And if you couldn't tell by the loud cheers, we did
Stage
stick.
2 FTS is saved.
We did stick that landing. Falcon 9 has landed once again. But turning our attention back to the crew, as you see there, our next event is second engine cutoff, or SECO, as it's referred to there at the bottom of your screen. Second stage will coast for a few minutes until Dragon is commanded to separate. A lot of just the energy here at SpaceX Mission Control is buzzing. You can hear commentary behind us. Right now, the crew is experiencing about 3 Gs, so pretty much a roller coaster for those thrill seekers out there.
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
And we are about 20 seconds away from that second engine cutoff. MLA will know this this feeling very well, this experience of going from now almost 4 Gs to...
SpaceX Dragon Shannon.
To,
Copy, Shannon.
as another abort mode there being called out. Now standing by for second engine cutoff.
Invex shutdown. Dragon, SpaceX, you're in a nominal orbit.
There we heard those call outs of second engine shutdown and nominal orbital insertion.
Launch escape system disarmed.
And the disarming of our launch escape system. That, of course, means that our Ax-3 crew is getting their first experience here in microgravity. Right now, Dragon is performing a series of onboard checks to ensure that we're ready to begin actuating those Draco maneuvering thrusters on board the vehicle. Now, as we prepare for Dragon separation, we should have a great camera view here in just a couple of minutes. Oh, wow, and beautiful views of the Earth, and our MVAC engine up there in orbit as well. Views there as we await that separation. Absolutely incredible images that we are getting back from up in space as we await Dragon separation in just about a minute. More views there of our Ax-3 crew on board Dragon.
Back to Earth in just about 2 weeks. So this is our first view of Ax-3 flying free.
We are now just about 30 seconds away from that anticipated Dragon separation.
The website is designed to make the process seamless and user-friendly.
You see the crew there play a little bit with the fact that they are operating in microgravity. And a great shot of mission control here in our headquarters at Hawthorne, California. This camera view here is taking a look at Dragon. What we're waiting for is nose cone deployment, among other things, which, as Kate mentioned earlier, there we go.
Dragon separation confirmed.
As you can see, Dragon has separated from the second stage. A pretty cool view here looking up at the heat shield that will return the Ax-3 crew back to Earth in just about 2 weeks. So this is our first view of Ax-3 flying free. The next physical change that we will see will be the deployment of the nose cone. That will take...
Dragon, this is the SpaceX Falcon team. We want to congratulate you on a great ride to orbit. I think you're demonstrating the ultimate in reuse, a reused Commander, a reused Dragon, and a reused Falcon. Or maybe flight experience is a better word. Enjoy space.
And Axiom-3.
Y'all, Durst, and as I was saying, it's a team sport. Thank you, guys.
And Axiom-3, this is your launch director here. Walter, Albert, and Marcus. Congrats, welcome to your first flight on Dragon. Mike, on the other hand, welcome to the Dragon Frequent Flyer Club. I imagine you'll have enough miles to qualify for platinum status after this flight. Godspeed, Axiom-3, cheers.
Mark, thanks to you and your team. We're very grateful up here.
So some back and forth between the Ax-3 crew as well as Ax-3 Chief Engineer Bill Gerstenmayer, who, oh, I heard the ping. That is our first Quindar tone of Ax-3. Fun fact, Bill Gerstenmayer was actually chief engineer on AX-1, which is the mission that MLA was also commander of. So if you want to talk about reuse, we also have some reuse on our side as well. We also heard some nice words from launch director Mark Soltis. So just some really nice communication from
Activation
both the Falcon
and service
team
section
and the
Draco
Dragon
checkouts.
team to the Ax-3 crew.
And confirmation that we're getting nominal check. And with that, our Ax-3 crew is in orbit and on their way to the International Space Station. Obviously, great views of the crew there. And now mission control, again, that's...
It's also always cool seeing the crowd at mission control excited about launching more humans into orbit on top of Dragon.
Of those Draco thrusters on board Dragon.
Copy check, and for your
Crew's
awareness,
getting right
we
into
have,
it. I love it.
visors open, crew.
Dragon, we copy on the request. And Dragon, we expect that will automatically happen in the state machine here imminently.
So with that, we are going to throw it back over
We see
to...
Hooks still traveling.
Okay, we stand by.
Great views there of our crew, again, on their way to the International Space Station. And already getting right down to the business of operating Dragon. You can still see a huge number of our team gathered behind mission control.
Dragon SpaceX, we see nominal dehumidifier activation and service section Draco checkouts.
And confirmation that we're getting nominal checkouts of those Draco thrusters on board Dragon.
Copy check, and for your awareness, we have visors open, crew are well, feeling well.
Copy, great news.
So for those of you that have just recently tuned in, Ax-3 is in space. The crew is experiencing their first taste of microgravity. Here is a view of our MVAC engine, which has been shut down. The crew has actually separated away from the second stage, which is where that MVAC engine is located. We are standing by for nose cone deployment. This takes a few minutes to complete as there are 2 sets of hooks that need to be opened independently of each other. By deploying the nose cone, we are able to expose the docking mechanism, which is, of course, what the crew will utilize, or excuse me, what Dragon will utilize to autonomously dock with the International Space Station. Overall, it was a pretty smooth flight all the way through countdown to liftoff. We're now approaching 17 and a half minutes into flight. Once again, the next milestone will be to deploy the nose cone. This is basically the last physical change that Dragon will undergo in order to begin its journey. Well, not really begin, it's already on the way, but in order to be ready for its approach to the International Space Station. All right, so it's hard to see at the moment because the camera is still close to the hardware, but this is the nose cone opening. Slow and steady wins the race. Of course, when you're in space, every action has an opposite and equal reaction. So for very good reasons, we don't just fling the thing open. It's very slow and steady. Again, this allows us to expose the docking mechanism, the hardware that will be utilized to dock with the International Space Station. That hatch, which is the forward hatch, will then be opened, and that's how the crew will get in and out of Dragon while it is up at the space station for the next 2 weeks. So that side hatch, which is where we saw the crew, or technically they were already in by the time that we started our broadcast, but the crew did ingress Dragon today, just a couple hours ago, through that side hatch. That remains closed. That won't open again until they are safely back on Earth on our recovery ship. So this nose cone that we see here slowly being opened is basically opening the first part of a multi-system door for them to get in and out of the International Space Station. I mentioned before that docking is autonomous. That means that Dragon does the steering itself. Our pilot, Walter Villaday, has the training and the capability to take control if necessary, but nominally speaking, Dragon flies on autopilot. It does the thinking and the calculation itself, which at the end of the day is ultimately much safer than human steering, as there's more that humans are prone to error because we are human. So that's a live view there of SpaceX Mission Control Center here at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. It is in the middle of our workday, so of course, many folks have returned to their positions, their desks, their job, and they are continuing to do what we do best, and that's build spacecraft and rockets and send people to space, just like we have done today. So with that, let's check in over with Courtney, who is standing by at the ISS Mission Control Center in Houston. Courtney, how are things looking over there? It's over to you.
Hey, Kate, everything is great. What a beautiful launch today. And with today's successful launch of Ax-3, the teams at NASA's Johnson Space Center will be monitoring Dragon's flight to the International Space Station over the next 36 hours. NASA's role in this journey really kicks in at a period called Integrated Operations, where Dragon is much closer to the station. At this point, NASA, SpaceX, and Axiom space teams are all in lockstep to get the crew safely docked. The teams here are preparing for a docking of Ax-3 to the station on Saturday morning. For now, that will be it from us in Mission Control Houston, and we'll be back with you Saturday for docking. And for now, we'll send it back to you, Kate and John.
Thanks, Courtney. And we did hear that we had nominal opening of the nose cone, so that is great news. Yeah. Now, over the next 30 hours, 30 plus hours really, Dragon will execute a series of burns to gradually raise and line up the Ax-3 crew for docking with the International Space Station and what we refer to as the activation and rendezvous phase of the mission. In just a few minutes, the crew will change out of their spacesuits and get a little bit more comfortable for flight, and something that would be my favorite part, enjoy their first meal aboard the spacecraft. Over the course of their flight, they will have a rest period that will last for about 8 hours. Before they arrive at the space station, we will have 2 potential opportunities to chat briefly with the crew on orbit, one around 3:15 p.m. Pacific and another around 6:20 p.m. Pacific.
Dragon SpaceX. Environments look good for suit doffing, and the cabin camera is soon to be configured. You're go for suit doffing.
Copy. We'll put 4.012 in work.
All right, so that call out there just saying that the crew is clear to take off their suits. As I had mentioned, they're able to get a little bit more comfortable for the upcoming journey. Now, we were talking about some on-orbit opportunities to chat with the crew. While we are hopeful that one of those opportunities will work out, neither opportunity is guaranteed, as they are unfortunately dependent on both crew schedule and ground station coverage. However, if we are able to support, we'll make an announcement on our social media channels no later than 15 minutes before the event start time. In the meantime, be sure to keep tabs on the mission at axiomspace.com, and you can also track...
And Dragon cameras are external.
You can also track Dragon's flight on spacex.com/launches.
Right, like you mentioned, Kate, even if we aren't able to talk live with the crew, we will continue to provide updates on the mission across our social media channels. And then, as Dragon and the Ax-3 crew approach the International Space Station early on the morning of January 20th, we will pick back up with our live joint coverage of the Ax-3 crew's docking to station with NASA. So please keep an eye on Axiom and SpaceX social channels for updates, as there will be plenty of incredible moments to share with you over the course of their mission. So from all of us at Axiom Space, thank you SpaceX, thank you NASA, and thank you for tuning in. This is just the beginning, and we